everyone, IntuitiveEdge here. Welcome to my channel once again. So I want to talk a little bit about the intuitive process. I've had some questions from subscribers that I want to address and answer. A lot of people have a lot of questions about when they use their intuition. How do they know that they're hearing correctly? How do they know that they're hearing the right thing? How do they know it's not just something they're making up? So I want to talk a little bit about the processes I use and some things that I've learned along the way. One of the things that I've learned is that intuitive growth, using your gifts, becoming stronger in your intuition, and personal development are pretty much linked together. In other words, you can't really grow good with your intuition if you're not willing to develop yourself. And that can mean looking at your inner motives, doing some deep dive on your inner world, clearing out emotional baggage and stuff left behind from previous traumas or things growing up or unresolved internal issues. Anything like that is going to be a hindrance to developing a strong intuitive or psychic gift. That's at least been my experience. And I've seen that a lot with others too, that the more that they work through their issues, and that can be with counseling, that can be with just self-development, a lot of meditation and going within, any of that is going to help clear out those issues and help you to be more emotionally clear. I had a good friend once tell me that we're only as sick as our secrets. And I took that to mean that whatever we are holding on to or not, there's that one thing that we don't uncover or want to talk about, that thing is going to fester and interfere later on with personal growth, personal development, and also spiritual development. This is also intertwined with intuition and being more adept and more psychic. It's kind of like viewing the body as a whole, complete unit. We are mind, we are body, we are spirit. And when we can clear out our channel to accept more new information and to process things in a new way, we'll be much, much more clear and much better psychically and intuitively. The most common question I get is, how do you know that you're not just making it up or that you're getting clear information? I think the best answer is meditation. Going within, stilling the mind, quieting the mind, and just listening to your inner world, listening to your breath, becoming peaceful in your mind is a very quick way to access correctly. When you're getting an intuitive impression, and I'm just going to speak from my experience because that's what I know, all right? So when I get an intuitive impression, if it comes to me literally out of the blue, like I was not thinking about a particular thing, and all of a sudden I have an impression about a thing that's coming in, that's usually something I pay attention to because it's not something I was thinking about. So I know that I didn't make it up, or my mind, I wasn't thinking about something. It just kind of popped in. So those are things you might want to look at, are things that just come to you out of the blue. Another thing that I look for is how am I feeling? Am I thinking about this, or am I like feeling it here, like a knowing about something? Is it coming into my brain, or is it coming into my overall mind, which is the heart mind? This is where intuition comes in for me, is in my heart mind. If I try to overthink it, which I do a lot sometimes because that's how I'm built. I love to analyze and overthink things. So I know when I get in my head that, okay, I'm trying to overthink this and overanalyze it. If it's just coming from here and I'm feeling it in this area, you'll start to learn as you meditate and as you take the time. And if you meditate with the intention of, I want to become more intuitive, I want to be able to hear my own intuition, your soul is going to want to open those channels up for you. It's just a matter of us allowing those things to come in. And again, when we're hiding secrets, when we're hiding things, buried traumas, sometimes they're unconsciously buried. We don't know it's there, but we get triggered easily at things, and that's how we know we're holding on to anger or unresolved trauma. The more that you can acknowledge that you want to address any issues in your past and release that, the easier that you will have accessing your own intuition and knowing what you're hearing is the truth. Also, when you meditate, you get to know yourself. You get to know what your feelings are, how your body interacts with information that you're thinking about. So you're going to know, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm thinking, and you'll know if it's something that comes to you or if you're feeling another presence in the room. You can start to distinguish between those and what you know your true self to be. And so this is probably a big focal point, is self-awareness, learning how to distinguish yourself from outside of you. Another big ticket item to addressing and becoming more psychic and being more intuitive is a process I like to call deconstruction. This is a very powerful tool that anyone can put in their toolbox. And it's basically when you want to become more psychic or more intuitive, there comes a process of deconstructing everything that you think you know about the subject, everything that you think you know about yourself. And this is a process of taking those things out, obliterating, kind of wiping the slate clean so that you can then take on the beliefs that are congruent with what you truly believe in your heart. A lot of us have grown up with belief systems that run counter to intuition. A lot of people, if you grew up in a mainline Christian home or any type of mainline religious belief, they may frown on tarot or the use of your own intuition or anything like that. Meditation sometimes. There are churches and different denominations and belief systems that shun that kind of thing. Horoscopes, any of that. So if all of a sudden you move on from that, maybe that was your childhood, but you really want to start embracing that side and just seeing, maybe understanding that a little bit more, seeing if there's anything there for you. Maybe you know that you have some intuition and you want to start to kind of understand it better and use it. If you grew up, I'm just going to say this from personal experience and others I know, if you grew up in that environment that said that those things were bad, even if later in life you want to explore them, you're going to probably be dealing with an internal subconscious belief that tells you those things are bad, even if you consciously don't think that. And your unconscious belief is going to harp on you and work at you and gnaw at you until you relinquish your adventure, your wanting to explore. So if you fit in that category, the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to go back and relook at everything that you were taught to believe and deconstruct it, basically to wipe the slate clean, say, those things served me at that time, but going forward, these are the beliefs that I want to take with me. The rest I don't want to take with me. Your subconscious is there to protect you. And if you were told as a child that tarot is of the devil or intuition is bad, then your subconscious mind that adapted those beliefs is going to continue to tell you that, even when you don't consciously know that's what's happening. And so you're going to be thwarted at every turn trying to access your own intuition because there's this underlying thing that's telling you it's bad or it's wrong or you shouldn't do that. So dealing with your unconscious is going to be a battle that you need to be aware of and be prepared for. And it's something that you can learn, but it's retraining the subconscious mind with new beliefs. So it's wiping the slate clean, incorporating new beliefs that says, no, these are not bad. I'm not going to be hurt by this. I am more powerful than any of these things. This is part of the natural exploration of my own consciousness, and I want to do this. And the more that you can affirm those new beliefs, the more you will begin to override your subconscious. Another thing about intuition, oftentimes things come to us and it is so subtle and so quiet that we oftentimes will get an intuitive notion and we'll go, oh, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, that can't be right. And we just dismiss it. And it shrivels up and goes away if we say we don't want that. So another thing is to consciously implore yourself to not brush away something just because it doesn't make sense at the time or doesn't sound right. It's to just be with it and try to listen for it. Sometimes those subtleties come so fleeting that they're so easy to miss. I have found this to be true. There's been many times a little tiny intuition comes, and if I'm not directly paying attention to it, I'll miss it. And I think that is probably something that other people deal with as well, is missing those little subtle cues that would have helped or clued you in. The more that you pay attention to those, the more that you can train yourself to be attuned to those little tiny vibrations, the more that you will be able to get the subtleties. And that's really key with intuition. A lot of psychics and intuitives, sometimes they have to be hit over the head, not literally, but like, hello, are you getting this? Oh, yeah. So to avoid that, it's listen to the little subtle things, and they come when sometimes we're least expecting it. Getting into that altered state of mind is imperative for intuitive development. After all, it is an intuitive thing. It is inside. So the conscious, busy mind, active mind isn't going to be as easily attuned to the mind that is soft, quiet, and meditative or contemplative. Another thing that is important with intuitive development is learning how to discern what you are feeling. There's many different types of intuitives, but if you're someone who walks into a room and you just feel that something is off, this is how you know that this is something that you are feeling because you walked into a room, as opposed to something that you're feeling because it's your own emotions or your own thing that you're dealing with. Learning to discern between what's yours and what's your environment is very key, very important. Oftentimes, intuitives will feel they'll just be angry, or they'll just be like wanting to cry. And they'll be like, I'm not depressed. It's not me. I feel so sad. I feel like I want to just cry. Those are times when you want to ask yourself, is this really what I'm feeling, or am I picking up an energy around me? There could be an entity around you that maybe is wanting to get your attention, and maybe they feel very sad, or maybe they feel very angry, and they're putting that on you. So this is really, really key to notice what you are feeling, and then ask yourself a lot. If all of a sudden you're feeling really mad, go stop and say, okay, am I mad, or am I picking up someone else's anger? Intuitives and empaths are like sponges. They can just suck up all the energy. And a lot of people, I think this is probably the reason that there are some mental health issues or emotional issues, is that people are picking up other people's stuff and they think it's theirs. And then they try to own it. And then they try to figure out why their life sucks because they're so depressed. And it's all stuff you're sucking in. It's not you. So it is you. In a way, it's you because you are a sponge. For those of you, I'm just talking in general terms here, for those people that do that. If you're a sponge, then that is you. You're sucking that up. But is it really your emotions, your anger, your sadness that you're feeling? This is where you need to learn to protect your energetic field. And there's lots of YouTube videos, probably lots of techniques that people employ that can take care of their energetic field. Sometimes it's a matter of taking a deep breath, imagining yourself surrounded in golden light, white light, purple light, whatever you want to put around you, and just say, this is my space, and anything out there that wants to talk to me, work with your guides on coming up with a way to have them talk to you that isn't just sucking in their energy. In other words, distinguish yourself from that and learn to push out those energies from your field. You'll feel a lot better. You'll feel a lot better because you won't be sucking up at everybody's stuff. And that can make people crazy, especially if there's a lot going on. This is why a lot of empaths and intuitives can't be in large crowds, because they're just a sponge and they suck all that up, and then for a couple of days after, they're not feeling well. Maybe you have to take time off from work or whatever just to recuperate. So just understand these things going in, that there are techniques that you can employ, and I won't go into those here. Find them online. There are places that you can go that will teach you techniques to protect your space and separate out your stuff from everybody else's. Another thing I would want to add to intuitive development is, at some point, you just have to trust yourself. Sometimes there can be analysis paralysis, they say, where you just want to think it through. You just want to make sure that you're not saying something wrong, or you're just, that's just a lot of fear. And you just have to step out in faith and trust in what you're getting. Especially if you really feel like you know something, and it's not knowing it, it's knowing it. If you really know something that's coming to you and you feel like you need to say it, but you're afraid, if it's coming to you that strongly, then that's also an indication that you should say it. That maybe the other person that you're wanting to talk to about this is ready to hear it. So trust yourself, step out, take that risk. The more that you trust yourself to step out and use your gifts, the more that the universe will see that, okay, she's open and willing to use her gifts. Let's give her more. Kind of like that scripture in Matthew that says, to him who has, more will be given. That's the concept here. The more you are willing to use your gifts and step out, the more you will get in return. Years ago, I did a weekend intensive, a light worker weekend intensive, and there were several psychics in the room. All of us were at one stage or another. And these were complete strangers that I was with. It was a group of maybe 15 or so people along with the leader. And we were working on getting over our own mind blocks, our own self that was doubting. And self-doubt is one of the biggest issues and blocks that people have because they're just afraid to say something. What if they look stupid? What if they're wrong? What if they, what if? So what we had to do was called a round robin, and we sat in a chair. There were a line of chairs here and a line of chairs here facing each other, and you sat facing one person. And there was a timer, a 60-second timer. You got to connect with that person across from you. This, like, one side was the talking side, the other side was the receiving side. So one person talked, the other person was quiet. And you had 60 seconds. And then when you were done connecting with that person, you got up and moved chairs and connected with the next person. Timer 60 seconds, go. And you basically just had to tune in and say what you were seeing on the spot. Johnny, on the spot. This is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a red house. I'm seeing a dog out in the yard. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever came to you. And the other thing that we learned at that intensive was the first thing that comes to you is generally the right thing. That's generally correct. If you have to sit and think about it and overanalyze it, then you're getting into your mind, and that's going to mess things up. So we just had to blurt. They said, just blurt it out. Don't try to think about it. Doesn't matter if it sounds stupid. Doesn't matter if you're seeing cotton candy and you have no idea why you're saying cotton candy, but that's what's coming to you. Doesn't matter. Just blurt it out. And so we did the round robin. Get up from our chair, move to the next, 60 seconds, go. And what I learned from that experience, after it was all said and done and we got to get feedback from people, what I learned from that was that I didn't have to analyze every single thing I said. I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to run it by my brain. Is this okay to say it? Should I say it this other way? Is this going to be okay? I just got myself out of the way. And I just went boom, 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 boom. Here you go. But it was so freeing in a lot of ways. It was so freeing to do that in that way. Really, really powerful. So these are just a few of the tips, techniques, and things that I have learned over the years in working and developing my own intuition and learning from others and what they've done. So if this has helped you, please let me know in the comments. Please like and subscribe. Let me know what you enjoyed about this, if anything resonated with you, what you learned, if you learned anything. Let me know those things in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if you have another topic that you want me to touch on or talk about, be sure and ask. And thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Thanks for joining me today. Bye for now.